This is a disclaimer. I am not a doctor nor a lawyer, and I am not qualified to give anyone medical or legal advice. If you follow any advice you hear from me or any of my videos, you do it at your own risk, including and leading up to your own death or paralysis. Alright, let's get into it. So, if you don't want to go to a hospital by ambulance, this is all that you need to say. Repeat after me. I will pause to give you time to repeat what I'm saying, so don't worry about it. My name is, insert your name. The year is, insert the year. I am in, insert the city or town you are currently in. There are 4 quarters in a dollar. I am refusing medical care and transport. I know the risks of refusing treatment and transport can lead up to and include paralysis and death. I know by refusing, I am taking full responsibility for my own health and whatever may happen later. I know that if anything changes or if I change my mind, I can call 911 back at a later time. Has this ever happened to you or your friend? I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm drunk and I can't get up. And some fucking shitty Samaritan or some shitty Karen, some shitty Ken, they fucking come call 911 or some shitty fucking Uber driver who doesn't want to deal with your drunk ass. They call 911 when all you need to do is sleep the booze off and you don't need a fucking ER bed. And even worse, then some self-righteous holier than thou fucking paramedic comes and kidnaps you and brings you to a hospital against your will. And is it because the paramedic cares about you? Is it because the paramedic is really thinking about your best interest at heart? Fuck no. Paramedics don't give a shit. Paramedics are actually pretty bad people, like most of the people in healthcare. Because unfortunately, why the paramedic is transporting your drunk, inebriated ass is because you have not been able to display capacity. Because paramedics, unfortunately, are bound by something called protocols, and they are worried more about self preservation and saving their jobs and following those protocols. And that leads me to my next topic. What is capacity for all you normies? This is Capacity is super fucking important because what capacity determines is whether you can refuse transport from a paramedic or not. To start it off, the first capacity has a couple criterias, and again, this will change from county to county, per paramedic to paramedic, from area to area, whatever. So the first part of it is a definition called ANO4 or ANO3 to hospitals. What ANO4 is, if you remember in the first part of the video, there were 4 things that you say. ANO4 is a way for paramedics, or ANO3 for nurses and doctors. It is a way for a healthcare professional to determine what your mental status is. There are 4 basic questions that a normal person should be able to answer. Again, that's pretty subjective. And that's why it's called ANO4 or ANO3. The first question is, what is your name? Again, paramedics are not cops. A cop asks you your name because they want to look you up. A paramedic asks you your name because they want you to know that you know who you are. You could give a paramedic a fake name. We don't give a shit. We just need something to write on our goddamn report. So again, the first question is name. The second question is time. That's why it says the year is blah blah blah, the month is blah blah blah. They just want you to know, do you have kind of a sense of time? And again, this is very subjective. You try to ask what day it is to someone who's been retired for many years and doesn't have a job, they ain't going to know the fucking day it is. The third question is place. And this one can change. You could be like, hey, I'm currently in this city, I'm currently in this town, or I'm currently on this street, I'm currently in a McDonald's. It could be, extremely specific as it needs to be, or it could be as vague as it needs to be, whatever, however you word it or question it. And this last part is the difference why EMS is weird and hospitals are both weird. The last question is events, and that can change depending on how a paramedic or a nurse asks you that. Events could be, do you know the events leading up to why you call 911, the events leading up to pretty much what happened, or it could be worldly events, like a paramedic asks you, oh hey, who is the president, or how many quarters are in dollar, which is stupid weird. And the reason why hospitals don't use events is because of this. A huge reason why people call 911, or a huge reason why people go to the hospital, is for syncope, which means fainting for all you normies, or for seizures. And oftentimes for fainting and for seizures, there is going to be a little bit of a memory lapse that is completely fucking normal. After all, you fucking fainted or you seized. So you might not even be able to ask all of those questions for 804 if you're using events based on events leading up to. However, just because someone can't remember that they fainted, they just know that there's a lapse of consciousness. Just because they don't know how they fainted does not mean that they can't refuse care. That's a big reason why hospitals only use AN03, and I don't know why EMS still uses AN04. That's why you can still be AN03 for a hospital and refuse transport. And again, events differs. It could be events leading up to, or like I said, worldly events or whatever. And so that's the first part of capacity. You need to be AN04 or AN03, meaning you can answer those questions. The next part of capacity means that you understand the risks and benefits that a medical professional is telling you. Obviously, the benefits are most likely that they can help you, and risks, this is a big one. Because America is super fucking legal and everyone's afraid of lawsuits, you have to be able to be competent enough to know that the risks can lead up to death and or paralysis. Pretty much, you could go in for, let's say, a paper cut, but if you don't want to, like someone call 911 because you have a paper cut, but you have to be able to tell that paramedic, hey, I completely understand that I can potentially die from this paper cut. I could get infected and I could die. Like, you have to be able to understand that in the world of infinite possibilities, there is a possibility of you dying by refusing transport, risks and benefits. So that's the second part of capacity. The third part is super fucking tricky. This is the part of how a lot of stupid paramedics and how a lot of stupid officers kidnap you and force you to go to hospitals. You have to display rational thought. What this means, again, this is super subjective, because let's say the cops were calling 911 for like some homeless fucking drunk bum, or not drunk. Let's say not drunk. Let's take that out because that makes it more complicated. Let's say 911 is called and police come on the street for some fucking homeless bum who's just like masturbating in the middle of the street, and some fucking shitty Karens who don't want to look at homeless dick, they call 911 for the cops to get rid of him.
While masturbating with my right hand, masturbating with my left.
And the cops call paramedics. Why? Because they write something called a 5150. And they say it's because this person does not have rational thought. Because they say a rational person would not be masturbating in the middle of the street. Even though this person is completely anal for, they know the risks and benefits, because they have been deemed to not have rational thought. Like, again, rational thought is super, super fucking, like, subjective. And a lot of police and paramedics will twist this in a bad way to force people to go to hospitals. It is super fucking dirty. So again, rational, it's just really subjective. It's just, would a rational person be doing this? Would an irrational person be doing this? And that's super subjective, because common sense is not common. Common sense has not been common ever since society stopped being a nice society. So those are to recap, those are the three parts of capacity. You have to be AN04/AN03. You have to be able to understand risks and benefits. And the last one, you have to be able to give like rational thought. And again, sorry, I'm just going to add this part. With a rational thought, that means you do not want to hurt yourself or anyone else, because that's when a police officer or social worker can write something called a 5150, 5150. What that means is it's a form that forces you to be to be psychologically evaluated for 3 days, and that could be again for if you attempted to commit suicide or you were hurting yourself, or even for an old person who has been shown failure to thrive, being unable to adequately take care of yourself. So if you ever want to get away from the paramedics, never ever say this. Never say this to a paramedic. Never say, I want to die or I want to hurt myself. If you do that shit, they're going to fucking kidnap you and force you to go to a hospital. You make their jobs harder, and now you're going into a fucking mental ward and you don't want to do that shit. Okay. And so the next thing, notice under these three criteria, the three criteria for capacity: A04, understand risks and benefits, and rational thought. Remember those. Check it out. None of those criteria have anything to do with you walking, slurring your words, because look at what I'm trying to get at. Drunk is a legal term. Intoxicated, drunk is a legal term. Paramedics cannot say you're drunk. Hell, paramedics cannot even say you're intoxicated because we don't have breathalyzers. What a paramedic can do on a report is often what I wrote. You write the evidence. Patient was slurring his words, was walking with an unsteady gait, had an odor on his breath. They can specifically say physical findings that they found on their chart, but they cannot say that you were drunk or intoxicated. They can say you appeared intoxicated, but that's a big thing. A paramedic cannot say you're drunk or intoxicated. So never ever, definitely don't lie to a paramedic. Say, yeah, I've been drinking a bit, but don't fucking tell a paramedic that, oh yeah, I'm way too sloshed, I'm way too drunk. Do not tell a paramedic that if your goal is to fucking get away. But yeah, don't lie. Say, yeah, I've had a beer or two. So, with that, a paramedic who's trying to fucking kidnap your ass and force you to the hospital to be like, hey dude, you can't even fucking walk straight, you fucking drunk, I'm gonna carry you onto my gurney and fucking force you to go to this hospital. Remember this about capacity. How you walk does not matter about capacity. Why? If that fucking mattered, every fucking person in a goddamn wheelchair would be forced into a hospital. And a big thing, there are plenty of things that can cause you to have an unsteady gait. Literally, stroke patients have unsteady gaits. It's called ataxia. You could have fucking multiple sclerosis. The paramedic doesn't know that, and if you could say, hey, I have multiple sclerosis, the paramedic can't say, oh no, you don't. Multiple sclerosis causes fucking unsteady gaits. Literally, you could be having a stroke, and as long as you show capacity, meaning you're AN04/AN03, you understand risks and benefits of transport, with the risks being, hey, I'm having a stroke, I'm gonna die, and be able to make rational thought, you could deny transport by an ambulance, you could fucking deny treatment at a hospital, even while you're having a stroke, because you still have capacity. So that's, again, hell. You could be slurring your words, having a fucking drifting your fucking arm. Remember, you could be showing signs of alcohol, but paramedic can't specifically say that that's fucking alcohol. They can say you're having an unsteady gait and you're slurring words. You're like, well, hell, shit, I could be fucking having a stroke and I'm showing capacity and I'm going to AMA. Shut the fuck up, paramedic. I am not drunk. Never tell a paramedic you're drunk. You can say, definitely tell them, hey, I've been drinking, but I'm not drunk. So those are two different things. So the first thing that I had you all say to repeat after me, what is that called? That is called an AMA. That stands for Against Medical Advice. What that means is that a paramedic/nurse/doctor, they're telling you that their medical advice/expertise wants you to be transported or treated. And again, you are telling them that, hey, I fucking know who I am, where I'm at, and what the year is, and hey, I know the risks and benefits leading up to death. It's pretty much telling them that, hey, I have capacity and I want to fucking bounce. And this is a trade secret, but again, paramedics are not fucking cops.
Yes!
Hell, you don't even have to have capacity. If you fucking, like, not if you're in an ambulance, but let's say you're on the street, someone call 911 for you and paramedics come, if you don't want to go, literally just walk away. If you can walk a block away, paramedics are not cops. Paramedics are not cops. I have to repeat that. They're not going to chase after you. I use what's called the mailman rule. What the mailman rule is, you obviously, a mailman could come when they deliver the mail. They stop, they park their car, they double park their car, and then they fucking deliver the mail house by house until they get to too far of a distance from their car. Then they walk back to their car and drive a little bit. Meaning, if you can walk far enough from the ambulance, that it will be an inconvenience for the paramedics to keep walking after you. Yep, which I would probably say is about half a block. Paramedics are not going to fucking chase you. You don't even have to have capacity, because again, they're not fucking cops. Though one reason why they might chase after you and tackle you or something like cops, and they're actually fucking completely right about that, is, let's say you appear drunk or whatever, some shit, and you're walking away from them, but you're yelling shit like, oh, I'm going to go in my car and drive drunk. Or you don't say that, but it's fucking obvious that you're a drunk ass person going to go in their car and fucking drive. Yeah, you are doing something that could harm yourself or others. Again, remember, 5150, harm yourself or others. And shit, unfortunately, paramedics are mandatory reporters. They might not tackle you, but they'll definitely fucking call out the cops to stop your ass, because unfortunately they have to, because you're doing something irresponsible that puts the safety of the public in danger. So they're probably going to fucking call the cops, and the bigger paramedics are probably going to tackle your ass. So again, after you do the AMA, paramedics will ask you to sign a form. It's pretty much stating everything that I said before, that you have capacity and that you understand risks and benefits leading up to death. Do you have to sign it? Again, what you are signing, usually when you sign it with a paramedic, I don't know about the hospital side, but when you sign it for a paramedic, you are not signing a bill. Some private companies will still bill you, but you are not signing that you're giving them permission to bill you. What you are signing is, hey, I understood the risks and benefits, and I want the fucking balance. I don't want to be transported by your dumb paramedic asses, your useless fucking oxygen Uber ass. Do you have to sign it? Signing it would help the paramedics. Honestly, you don't have to. You could, as long as you verbally say that, you could just walk up and get out. Walk up slowly, of course. Again, don't walk out of an ambulance while it's fucking moving. Then you're fucking then you're putting yourself in danger trying to walk out in moving traffic, and the paramedic has every right to fucking restrain your ass and shit. But yeah, you don't have to sign that form, but you do have to verbally say that. The paramedic will probably just put it in a report. Patient adamantly refused to sign, but verbally said this. And then it'll become a he said kind of thing. And it is what it is. You don't have to sign anything. But it's probably best you sign, because, like, shit, don't be a liar. You're already aiming. And again, with some more legal shit, just to end up this video, because this fucking happens all the time when I was that I've heard stories of, and when I was working as a paramedic. If you do an AMA, you can't come back and sue the fucking medics like a fucking Karen. And it's you or your family. Like, let's say you have a fucking grandma or grandpa who fell down in your house, and grandma and grandpa, let's say they have capacity. They are anal forward, they're smart, they take care of themselves, they bake cookies for Christmas, they can fucking walk without a cane or a walker. They normally take care of themselves and understand risks and benefits, and they fell down and they have a little knot on their head, and they take blood thinners. And the paramedics come, and grandma or grandpa said, hey, I've fallen and I can't get up. Fucking old ass. And they just want to get back in bed or back to the bathroom. They don't want to go to a hospital. The paramedics help them out, take vital signs, check them out. Some vital signs don't look good, but like I said, your grandma or grandpa had capacity, was A104, understood risks and benefits, and their house was in good working order. Looks like they take care of themselves. They're completely rational. And your grandma or grandpa, you signed an AMA paper, and the paramedics bounced. This has actually happened, not to me, but to like coworkers. Grandma and grandpa end up dead the next morning from a bad brain bleed, and a fucking stupid fucking family tries to sue the company. Nope, you cannot do that shit. Grandma or grandpa was anal for, understood risks and benefits, was completely rational. You are not the power of attorney. They take care of themselves, and they said, hey, I know that by leaving, I can potentially die, but all you got is a little bruise on my head, and I take blood thinners, but I don't care. I don't think it's anything. And they fucking sign it and die. You can't come back and sue the fucking paramedics for doing that shit because your grandma or grandpa pretty much knew the deal. Essential, and again, this is it for pretty much anything. Like let's go back to the walk away. Let's say you just start walking away from the paramedics and they don't chase after you. Let's say you're a drunk ass, but apparently you're not drunk. You actually had a seizure or some stroke or some brain bleed because your drunk ass fell, and you walk away from the paramedics and you ended up dying. Well, you can't. Or let's say not dying. Let's say you get pretty injured because you were actually having a stroke and you had some deficits because you weren't drunk. You were having a stroke. You can't come back and fucking sue the paramedics because you were walking away. And let's say you followed the mailman rule and you walked over half a block away. The paramedics have no fucking. They're not cops. You're walking away. They're not going to detain you. They don't have any reason to chase after a dude for over half a block. So they did their due diligence. They did their due diligence. You can't come back and sue their asses. So this is a big thing. Take all my advice with a grain of salt because I am not a doctor or lawyer. I can't give anyone advice. But if you want to get out from a stupid paramedics kidnapping you and giving you a large ass bill, just pretty much say what I said earlier in the video. This is just a guide to get you out of that stupid ambulance and to get you out of that stupid hospital. This is not a guide for you to actually take care of your health, because 100% you could be having something else going on besides your alcohol. You could fall in and actually have an injury that might need to be taken care of. This is not how to take care of yourself. This is just because, hey, tell the paramedics, hey, fuck you guys, I don't want to go with you. I might rather want to Uber to the hospital, have family drive me, I don't need an ambulance. Or, hey, I don't want to fucking be seen by a medical professional anyways, fuck off. This is pretty much a guide for that.